morning, everyone. Welcome to day 4 of Faith Power Challenge. I hope you have been enjoying this so far as much as I have. So while I was compiling what I was going to say today, I suddenly realized that all this would be a waste of time if I didn't speak about the power of thought. You see, two years ago, I was cooking in my kitchen and listening to music on YouTube when all of a sudden, I'm not sure how that happened, but I found myself listening to A Power of Thought by T.D. Jakes. And it changed everything for me. Although I've heard about the power of a thought, I've heard about how thinking affects the way that we react and how thinking affects our life. But I'm not sure that I understood it as much as I did on that day in my kitchen when I was listening to The Power of Thought. And suddenly I realized that all this that we're facing, all our circumstances, our experiences, are all shaped by our thinking, our perception, and the way we see life. So I decided, rather than to talk about faith and health, which I will be talking about tomorrow, and faith in action, which would be tomorrow is our last day of the 5 days faith challenge. I thought to myself, I think it would be more productive. I just had that feeling within me that it would benefit every single person who has been going through this journey for the last 3 days if I touched upon the power of a thought, because it doesn't make sense if we're just talking about faith and faith and faith if we're actually not practicing it, because faith is an active thing. It's not something that you think about faith and drop it and just carry on with your life. It's something that it's a journey, as well as it has to be active in your life, in your thoughts, in your experience. So today we'll be talking about the faith in relation to our thoughts. So unless we change our mind and how we think, we will not be able to apply our faith in the direction of what we want. Everyone knows what thought is, but most people do not understand the workings of thought and how it affects our lives. Our verse today is Proverbs chapter 23, verse 7. I'll get my Bible. So it says, and I'm sure a lot of us know this, it says, "For as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." Powerful. Short phrase. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. The second one is Philippians chapter 4, verses 8. Actually, I'll probably just start with... I'll just start with 6. I wanted to read just from 8, but I'll start with 6. "Be careful for nothing, but in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your request be known unto God." It doesn't say worry. Actually, it says the opposite. Be careful for nothing. In other words, worry for nothing. But in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your request be known unto God. And the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. It doesn't say think on your worries, think of your sufferings, think of your lack, think of things you do not have. It says think of only that which are good. So thought is a power, an energy, and it operates along well-established natural laws and may be successfully applied by anyone intelligently. The character of an individual is the complete sum of all their thoughts. Thoughts are radioactive. They are capable of being radiated over space, external to the naked eyes, and external to the brain in which it is generated. Think about something for a long period of time and it shows up. Have you ever wondered how we can think about something or someone with feeling and all of a sudden it appears, or we receive a call and then we say, wow, I was just thinking of her, or I just had a thought about XYZ and there I am. It appeared to me. When I started understanding what thought was and how it affects our life, I started putting it to practice just to find out, does it really work? And it does work. Because consciously, I would throw something out there and then I would think about it. I can think about it for a couple of minutes, but I will add a lot of feeling to it. In an hour, sometimes in split seconds, it depends. And again, they say when you start going into how thought transference and how it works, if you do not have any resistance towards what you are thinking about, it tends to manifest easily. So you have to be in a vibrational position and feel that which you want and feel it for a period of time. In other words, raise your energy. So if your energy, there's sometimes when I think about something, I can only just possibly think about it for a minute or two, and there it is, it appears. Because I know that it works. And again, this is how we talk about faith. The more faith you have, the more you will see it appear in your life. The more action you will take. Again, it's the same for negative things, both negative and positive. If you've been thinking about something negatively for a long period of time, it will keep appearing in your life. It's not a coincidence. It is natural law. Thought vibrations are sent out when we think. The stronger your thoughts, by that I mean with feelings, the stronger the vibration, the stronger the attraction. And you will draw it towards yourself. I don't know if you've heard of what is called the law of attraction. That's how, roughly, that's kind of like an idea of how it works. The more you think about something and the more feeling you have towards something, the more you attract it towards yourself. Whether it is good or bad or indifferent. If it's a good thing, the more you think about good things relating to what you want, the more you attract it to yourself. Or the more you think about bad things, the more you attract it to yourself as well. Our thoughts have so much power. And sadly, we are always thinking. And most times thinking about what we do not want. We look at our circumstances as we see them and bemoan and complain and feel so sorry for ourselves. And we can think about this all day at different times and wonder why our lives don't change for the better. Faith is hopeful, is a hopeful expectation. That is to say that your thoughts of your belief and trust and positive, and cannot think of faith. 1 minute, you're thinking of something bad, and the next minute, you're thinking of faith. It cannot work. 1 minute, you want something good, and the other minute, instead of thinking of the good things that you want, you're thinking of how bad things are. It cannot work. It will not manifest in your life. I will explain this in a minute. The reason for the lack of faith is that we look at our desired state. In other words, we look at what we want through the eyes of our current limitations. And then we see it as impossible of accomplishment. The more you think of your present state, the more you see your present state. The more you think of lack, the more you think of you not having enough, the more you think of you being sick. Oh, look at this sick state. Oh, my leg, oh, my hand, oh, my head is swollen. Look at my body. I'm so fat. I'm so big. Look at my legs. They're swollen. Look at my face. I've got X, Y, Z. The more you look at those things, the more you think about those things, the more those things appear in your life. We all have vibrational frequency. I use this analogy of you living in a house. Say, for instance, I live in Croydon. Now, most of my belongings and my things are in Croydon. If we look at it in a vibrational state in relation to our thought, you have a certain kind of thoughts that you constantly think about. So those thoughts are dominant more than the other thoughts. Okay, you can think about something that you want. For instance, say you want a car. I love that car. You think about it perhaps maybe 5%. You think about your health or your ill health, 10%. You think about maybe something else, 5%. You think about another 10%. But you usually have a dominant thought. For instance, you can think of, I don't have enough money. I'm always stressed, thinking of how to meet my needs. And that lack is 50%, perhaps, say 50 or 60%. So you are vibrating constantly of lack. Lack. That's so you're living in your frequency is a frequency of lack. So that is what is vibrating. And what is vibrating is coming back to you. You're attracting it back to you. In a thought plane, we have a frequency, as I was saying, just like a radio frequency. If you want radio FM, which is on 97.3, you have to tune to 97.3. You cannot be at Magic FM listening something which has a frequency of 100.1. You cannot tune your frequency, which is already on 100.1. and want to listen to something which is on radio FM 97.3, you would have to tune your radio. You would have to tune the frequency to the frequency of 100.1. So, looking at it in our physical plane, you are thinking of lack, assuming your lack is 70. Or let's use the analogy we used earlier, 97.3. But one of abundance is 100.1. You cannot get there by standing here or by standing in a frequency of 97.1. You can never get there. 97.3, you can never get. You have to tune to a frequency of 100.1. So you live where you are. You live what you see. You forget about the plane that you're in, the frequency that you're in, and start tuning to that frequency and remain in that frequency to be able to receive the frequency of abundance. I'm not sure, I don't know if I've made it really clear, because thoughts are energy we do not see, energy that we cannot physically see, but you can see those energies because there have been so many researches done about thoughts energy. I mean, there's a couple of there are a couple of workshops you can go to, and you can actually, as you're thinking, you can see the energy. You can look this up on Google, how what you think and the radio frequency, how that affects the physical plane around you. So thoughts are energy. It's real. The dominant thoughts that you have is the frequency you radiate. If you have a frequency of lack, that means your dominant thoughts are of lack, and you will constantly vibrate and attract lack to you because your frequency matches your thoughts. So in order to change your frequency of what you want, you must understand everything is seen, for example, on two different planes. So what do I mean by this? Money, for instance, which seems to be a lot of what people complain about, including myself. Oh, we want more money, we want more money. A lot of people say they want more this, they want more that, they want more that. Now, money is seen in two ways. enough and the lack of it. And most people do not know that it is seen in two ways. Because when you think about it as in I want. I want means you lack it. This was really explained to me in one of the seminars I went to. I didn't even see it that way myself. That when you're thinking about money, or anything you're thinking about, whether it's health, whether it's your finances, whether is whatever it is you're thinking about, is in two ways. It's like a coin, two sides. Say my hand now is money. On this side is a lack of money. On the other side is abundance of money. So be careful when you're thinking, not to be thinking about money, just the word money, but the abundance. Because the more you're thinking about the abundance, you having the abundance, you're attracting more abundance to you. Or you could be thinking of lack. I don't have. You're beating the drum of I don't have. I need this. I want to buy this. I need money for this. You are attracting more of you do not have into your frequency, into your life, and it's showing up. Or you can do the other way and say, I have abundance and and that's faith. I haven't seen it yet, but it's coming. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm hopeful. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm expectant. And the more you go towards the direction of faith and hopeful expectation, the more you attract that into your life. So faith comes in and moving from a state of not having to a state of having. In other words, hopeful, believe. When you start thinking about it is possible with time that your frequency will begin to change. Always it will change. And people are different. Some people within the space of a month, they move from a state of not having to having everything they need. Not just in terms of wealth, in terms of happiness, in terms of perhaps their marriage working out, in terms of them having children. I don't have any children. I'm looking for children. I want children. But you know what? Why you're not having it? You keep beating the drum of you do not have. And so your vibration, your dominant vibration is I do not have. And the fact that your dominant vibration is I do not have, you can never bring you have into your body, into your frequency, into your life. You have to change the way you think. Renew your mind. The way your mind has been functioning, the way your thoughts have been going, you have to change the direction of your thoughts. That's why some people who were poor previously become rich, because they have moved their thoughts from lack to abundance, or they have moved their thoughts from ill health to health. You rise to a higher level of consciousness. You rise from lack to abundance, from sickness to health, from bad to good, from what I don't have to what I have, not by focusing on your present condition, but by taking your attention away from your present condition and renewing your mind and placing it into that which you desire to be. By mentally feeling yourself already to have what you want. By seeing yourself already having it. Without wavering. Without doubt. Remember the verse yesterday. I'm just going to read that very quickly. Remember yesterday, James. It says, but let him ask in faith, nothing wavering, for he that wavereth is like a wave of sea, driven with the wind and tossed. Again, yesterday's verse. Be ye doers of the word, and not hearers, deceiving your own selves. For if any bearer be a hearer of the word and not a doer, there's no point going to church. There is no point listening to all this and not practicing it. That's just a waste of time. You have heard what I said about the power of thought. And if you look at your life, you realize that I have stated a fact. Look at the dominant thoughts. Think about the things. Just spend a few hours, not even a whole day, with a pen and paper. And begin to write down the thoughts that come to your mind. At the end of an hour, you would understand why you are where you are. Because your dominant thoughts is one of the expression of where you are. So for he beholdeth himself and goeth away, and straightway forget what manner of man that he has seen in the mirror, what manner of man he has said. A few minutes ago, he said, I am this, I am that, and I'm going to spend the rest of the day thinking about this. I am this, I want this, I have this. 5 minutes down the line, he's thinking about the very opposite of what he or she just confirmed that they are. Okay, but whosoever looketh into the perfect law, the law of liberty, and continue therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deeds. By giving thanks already, because you have faith, it must come to pass. It must. That is how you move from a less desired state to a more desired state. By the right thought, with faith power. So, my dear brothers and sisters, an exercise for you to do today. Spend as much as you can, 30 minutes, 1 hour. You can have a pen and paper, or you can just note down what you're thinking about. But I guarantee you, by the end of that, you would understand why you are seeing what you're seeing, why you are where you are. If you're thinking about your health, if you're thinking about your marriage, if you're thinking about your relationship, if you're thinking about why you keep getting angry and why you keep meeting people who having a bad day, think about the thoughts that you're thinking while you're having a bad day. Nothing is a coincidence. What you throw out to the world, what your thoughts are, your dominant thoughts, is what you get back. So don't forget your gratitude. I hope you've done that this morning, or you do that now. Try as much as you can to be grateful for everything that comes your way, to learn from anything that comes bad, that is bad that comes your way. How can I learn from this? What can I take out of this? What does this mean? Yesterday, I lost my key. I couldn't find the key to my car. And I was searching everywhere around it. I couldn't find it. Everywhere around the house, I could not find it. I wasn't upset. Normally, I would be upset. I just kept saying to myself and saying to God, what does this mean? What are you telling me? What does this mean? I had to call some people to pick my kids and take them to school. Luckily enough, some of my friends were able to do that. I called RAC. They opened the car, couldn't find the key, but the key I was actually looking for. But God so kind, I found a spare in the car. Got the spare. I was meant to be meeting some people, missed the appointment, and just carried on my normal day. And I just said to myself, I don't know what this means. Does this mean that something would have happened to me if I left earlier? Normally, before, I would have been so upset. I can't drop the keys. I have to go. I have to meet this person. But all that, you just have to change the way you think and the way you see things. So when you have a bad day, sometimes I didn't have a bad day. For me, as far as I'm concerned, it wasn't a bad day. Every day is a fantastic, perfect day for me. There is no bad day. Every day is a good day for me. Yesterday ended up being a fantastic day. Every day is a good day. So once you have that mindset, you begin to see things differently. It's not what happens to you, but how you see what happens to you. Like Wayne Dyer says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So don't forget your blessings. Be grateful for everything. And again, your faith power, water, constantly be consciously aware of your faith. Have a faith-filled day. Thank you so much for listening. Namaste.